Alright, so here we are back again. As I said, I'm going to do a half ship. So added the planking, added the brick base for the oven, and I've left the rest clear so you can still see all the cabin structures and everything down here, all the way along, including the hatchway here. And I've stopped here so you can see all the breast hooks and everything else. I've put this guy in and added these pieces here. There's a story about those, I'll tell you in a second. But luckily very little sanding, it all fitted, which means that I've done a reasonable job in here, and I'm happy that all these ribs line up and everything lines up the way it's supposed to. It's starting to become quite solid. Now, these guys have all got, according to the blue diagram I'll tell you in a section, everything here is supposed to have an E value. However, both the manual and the blueprints have these parts wrong. These positions, the main pieces, cross beams, these guys and the joiners in between, all have an E value. However, these are a D value. So consequently, I'll show you what I mean on this guy. As you can see, they're all numbered as E's. I don't know if I can zoom in anymore without losing focus. Alright, so it's as good as it's going to get. So you can see all these have E values, which are correct. But all these ones along the top that have been called E are wrong. They're D. And they're on sheet 20. Just to make life confusing, I'll show you the sheet. This is the sheet I'm talking about, and here are all the parts here along the top there. Everything on here is sheet D, not sheet E. Luckily the parts list I was provided in the spreadsheet, somebody found out and put the correct numbering next to it, so don't be confused and go looking for parts E all over the place, because they don't exist. The only E parts are the cross beams themselves. Anyway, time for the installation of the first portion of the cabin. As you remember last time we talked about assembling these pieces. Well, I've put all the cardboard hinges that I'd laid it out on it now, and that, now that this is glued in face, fits under here with its assembly. Now you can either do this first and do the top first, but I found that if you do the bottom first, we'll do the top portion first, it locks and holds everything into place. Speaking of which, I'm just going to get it all lined up. Alright, and once we've got it all lined up, it fits nicely in place, and this guy sits over the top. I will adjust that properly afterwards and glue it into place, but that now cabin section is now finished. I can tilt it up. You can see how that sits in there, so you get to see the door from there, and you get to see the wallway between the two doors here. So that's how you fit that guy in. It did have to be adjusted on the bottom for the floor, obviously because it's a little bit low without the floor, once you've done that, it'll fit it in quite nicely. Anyway, I'll glue that into place and we'll start with the rear section. Cheers. Alright, so continuing on from installing this bit, I added the front section here and glued in the wall behind there, so the wall's now in place. I've completed this bit on this side. Just turn around a little bit more so you can see a little bit more, because that's obviously going to have some sort of decking on it, but I wanted to leave this bit clear so you can see into the actual structure. Otherwise, trying to look through down at all the components that you put together and down there, you're not going to see them. So my version of the ship will have this portion without these in, where I want some visibility, and filled in where it is. Now, there is a bit of an issue fitting these guys. They sit over the top of this bar which goes across. These guys don't have it chalked out to fit that, so before fitting these guys, make sure you cut out the relevant grooving and space so it can fit. Otherwise it's a bit difficult to cut it out afterwards to fit it in. I also left the braces out on these two because the wall's there. You can't put the braces in, so that's another modification needed if you're fitting the walls. Don't fit the braces. Otherwise it's going together quite well. You just have to make sure you get these pointing in the right direction. They are numbered. They're easy to find on the sheet, however make sure you put the numbering in correctly, because the number of slots that are cut out relate to the number of these guys going across, and it does vary on the kit. So it's very, very easy to put these in the wrong way. They will need a slight adjustment to fit, but everything is going quite well so far. So I'll complete that one, and then I'll come back in another video and we'll show you. We'll start from the other end here, build the cabin out to there, and then complete the section in the middle. But to give you an idea of what it looks like, that's the completed section so far. Not too difficult, a little bit fiddly lining the pieces up and adjusting them. Just remember, when you sand any of the pieces to put in, make sure you just sand from one end, otherwise you're going to end up having those little 2x2s out of alignment. Not too fiddly, but it's no instructions in the manual when it comes to this bit. It's basically just work it out yourself based on the plans. Cheers.